Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markel. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markel.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Morning Mindset. I am your host, Paul Markel, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me just for this quick amount of time. This quick, short, brief period of time where we're going to listen to this and then you're going to begin your day, whether you're drinking coffee or you're getting the kids ready for school or whatever you're doing. So thanks for joining me. Recently, I was on the phone with a good friend of mine, and we were talking about all kinds of things. But one of the things that he brought up was how he had recently traveled back to his hometown for a reunion. And, you know, a lot of people go to reunions and they expect changes or they expect things to be different because your life is different and you imagine that everyone... I don't know, yourself, everyone else is going to improve, or we put these weird expectations on our reunions, right? Often we go to see people we've lost touch with that we would still like to contact, but, you know, life gets in the way, families and jobs and careers and what have you, and we just lose touch with people. But I was talking to my friend, and he said that he was rather disappointed because someone that he ran into, that he saw, that they had been kind of a negative person. They'd been kind of a self-involved person years ago, but that was when they were younger. And he expected that they were going to change with time, that they would no longer be that way. And he was disappointed. And he told me, he's like, well, I really thought after all this time that this person in question, it doesn't matter who they are, but that they would have changed, right? That they would not be negative and self-involved and so forth. And they hadn't. And so, we got to talking, and that's how I came up with the idea for today's episode. People don't change because you want them to. Now, I know that seems really obvious on the face of it, but how often do we build up expectations in our minds that given enough time and enough distance or space or whatever, that a person who you believe is not behaving appropriately or correctly, or like I said, is either a negative person or a very selfish person or a self-involved person or whatever, that they will change because you in your heart, you think, this person needs to change. They should change. They should do this or that or the other thing. And then when you realize that they haven't, you've built up this expectation in your mind that they would, but they haven't changed. And then you get frustrated, or you feel disappointed, or you feel let down, or what have you. And I would warn you, save yourself the disappointment of expecting others to change because you think that they should. Human beings are peculiar animals. And one of the ask somebody who's a fitness coach or a dietitian or whatever about people changing. People, I don't know when it is, whether it's between age 12 and 18 or between age 15 and 25, or maybe it's even earlier, maybe it's 10 or 11 or what have you. People develop habits, both psychological habits, how they view the world, how they interact with other people. They develop habits on how they eat, whether or not they exercise, whether or not they engage in reckless or dangerous behavior, whether it's narcotics or alcohol or what have you. And they get really comfortable and set in their ways. And most humans, after a certain amount of time, are essentially on autopilot. Yes, they get up every day and they go to their, job, or they do whatever it is they do. Maybe they have a family, maybe they don't. But rarely do they actually make real hard, serious changes. Most people don't. Most people, once they, get out of school and get out on their own, they have their set patterns and behavior. Like I said, their dietary behaviors and their physical activity behaviors and the way they look at the world and the way they view things. And just because you're over there on the outside thinking, hey man, you really need to, clean up your act. You need to do this. You need to do that. They're not going to do it just because you think they should. Whether or not, you're correct, whether or not they need to make that change, they're not going to do it for you. And like my friend was expressing on the phone with me frustration over this fact that he really had hoped that this person had gotten their stuff together over the years, because they had, lost touch and they hadn't seen him for a while. And they thought, well, certainly by this time, things have changed, but they hadn't changed. I want you to save yourself the disappointment of expecting others to change just because you think that they should. Now, that does not mean that they're irredeemable, that they cannot be redeemed, but the fact of the matter is, it's like the alcoholic or the drug abuser or whatever, they have to make a decision to change themselves. They're not going to do it for you, and you can't force them to do it. Husbands, wives, husbands. Wives, you cannot force your husbands to change. You can do whatever it is you want to do. But if you think, well, I don't like this about my potential spouse, but after we get married, it will change. No, it won't. You either need to learn to deal with that person and accept their behaviors and how they view the world, or you need to look somewhere else. Women are very, very culpable when it comes to this. Yeah, they understand. They see the shortcomings. They realize the faults of their potential mate or husband. But they believe that because they want that person to change, that they will change. They're going to change. And I know, men are fall into a similar vein, but women, be honest. How many times, well, yeah, I know he acts this way now. I know he behaves this way now, but things will be different after we're married. Things will be different in a few years. He will change. Will he change? Will he change for you? Probably not. Probably not. What can you do? Well, you can set the example. And I know it seems silly or almost immature or juvenile, I guess. You say, well, I'm going to set a good example and this person will follow me. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Oftentimes people are watching your behavior and considering how it is you interact with others and you behave and your patterns of behavior, and they won't tell you. They're never going to say, hey, man, I've been watching you. I've been watching your behavior and I want to emulate that, or I want to be more like you, or I want to, get myself right. But the best you can do is to lead by example and to be there for someone if they want to change. Let's say someone comes to you and they're like, hey, I realize I'm screwing up. I realize I'm, abusing narcotics or alcohol, or I'm a negative person, or I can never get my crap together. Will you help me? If that's the case, help them out. But they're not going to change just because you want them to. So save yourself the frustration and the disappointment of thinking that people are going to change just because you think that they should. Ladies and gentlemen, I wrote a book. It's called Morning Mindset, a 30-day plan for a more positive and productive life. I have the proof copy right here in my hand. Can you hear that? There you go. I was folding the pages. This book is available right now on Amazon.com. Go to Amazon, type in the word Paul Markel. That's me, Paul, and Morning Mindset, and you will find it. The Morning Mindset book is a 30-day plan. It is think of it as a daily devotional and study guide combined into one. If you can give me 30 days of dedication, I can help you lead a more positive and productive life. All right, folks, that's it for today. I'm your host, Paul Markel, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markel, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.